Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that nothing that happens in the world is by chance. What if I told you that news about wars, peace agreements, and political decisions was already written thousands of years ago in the Bible, and it is happening now? During his presidency, Donald Trump made several key decisions that set this prophecy into motion. One of the most significant was the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and the relocation of the US embassy there. This wasn't just a diplomatic gesture, it was a seismic shift in global politics that aligned perfectly with biblical prophecies pointing to Jerusalem's central role in the end times. According to scriptures, Jerusalem will be the focal point of both political and spiritual conflict as the world approaches the final days. By making Jerusalem the capital, Trump elevated the city's status on the global stage, pushing it into the spotlight exactly as the Bible predicted. Another critical move was the Abraham Accords, a series of normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab nations. On the surface, these accords seem like monumental steps toward peace in the Middle East. However, biblical prophecy warns of a period of false peace before the return of Christ. The Bible, particularly in books like Daniel and 1 Thessalonians, speaks of leaders who will promise peace and security, only for sudden destruction to follow. The Abraham Accords could be the beginning of this deceptive calm, setting the stage for future conflicts that will spiral into the prophesied end-times turmoil. At the heart of these developments is Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law and a key architect behind these deals. Kushner's influence goes beyond politics. His deep ties to Israel and his background in real estate hint at an even more significant role in the prophetic timeline. Kushner was instrumental in fostering relationships with Middle Eastern leaders, and his strategic planning has laid the groundwork for future developments that could lead to the fulfillment of one of the Bible's most anticipated prophecies. The rebuilding of the Third Temple is a cornerstone of end-time prophecy. The Bible states that before Jesus returns, a third temple will rise in Jerusalem, becoming the center of global attention. This temple will not only serve as a religious landmark, but also as a symbol of the unfolding divine plan. Kushner's involvement in real estate, including his controversial purchase of 666 Fifth Avenue, has sparked discussions among prophecy scholars about his potential role in this sacred project. The number 666, often associated with the Antichrist, adds a chilling layer to these speculations, although it could be coincidental. This prophetic timeline is further intensified by the US plan to take control of Gaza. Gaza, a region steeped in conflict, holds significant prophetic importance. The Bible frequently mentions Gaza as a place of destruction and unrest. In books like Amos and Zephaniah, prophecies describe the downfall and desolation of Gaza, tying it to the broader narrative of Israel's trials before ultimate redemption. The proposed US control over Gaza is not just a political maneuver, it's a direct fulfillment of these ancient predictions. The shift in control could lead to heightened tensions in the region, possibly drawing in other nations and escalating into a larger, more destructive conflict. As the US strengthens its presence in Gaza, the likelihood of regional instability grows. Surrounding nations, many of which harbor deep-seated animosity toward the US, may view this move as an act of aggression, potentially triggering retaliatory actions. This escalating conflict aligns with prophecies from Zechariah 14, which describe nations gathering against Jerusalem, leading to a climactic battle that only Jesus Christ can resolve upon his return. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. The Bible also warns of the emergence of a false Messiah during this period of turmoil. This leader will promise peace and unity, but will ultimately seek worship and control, leading the world into deeper chaos. This figure is often referred to as the Antichrist, and his rise will coincide with the construction of the Third Temple. The temple will become the stage for his ultimate betrayal of humanity, as described in 2 Thessalonians 2:4, where he will exalt himself above all that is called God. Despite the growing tensions and the looming threat of false peace, the Bible offers hope. The prophecies are clear. After the period of deception and conflict, Jesus Christ will return to establish true peace and reign over the earth. His return will be marked by the defeat of the Antichrist and the establishment of his kingdom, fulfilling the promises made in scriptures like Revelation 20, which describes his millennial reign on earth. The first significant event to appear on the world stage was President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital on December 6, 2017. For decades, the status of Jerusalem had been a sensitive topic in international diplomacy, but Trump's bold move completely changed the dynamic. According to Zechariah 12:3, Jerusalem will become a burdensome stone for all peoples. By declaring Jerusalem the capital and moving the U.S. Embassy there on May 14, 2018, the exact 70th anniversary of Israel's founding, Trump brought this ancient prophecy into sharp focus. The number 70 is symbolically significant in the Bible, often representing completion and fulfillment, suggesting that this event marked a major prophetic milestone. But Trump's actions didn't stop there. In March 2019, he formally recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, a territory that has been disputed since Israel captured it from Syria during the Six-Day War in 1967. The Golan Heights hold strategic military importance, but it also features prominently in biblical geography, associated with ancient territories of Bashan and Hermon, lands tied to spiritual battles described in Scripture. By recognizing Israel's claim, Trump didn't just alter political boundaries, he reinforced Israel's prophetic role in the end times. The most significant of Trump's Middle East policies, however, was the Abraham Accords, announced in August 2020. These agreements normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. On the surface, these accords were hailed as historic steps toward peace in the volatile region. But beneath this diplomatic veneer lies a darker, more prophetic implication. Driving these agreements was Jared Kushner, Trump's senior advisor and son-in-law. Kushner's deep connections to Israel and his strategic role in the Middle East peace process were crucial. He's not just a political figure, his background reveals ties to key prophetic elements. The Abraham Accords also set the stage for even more ambitious projects. One of the most shocking developments tied to these accords is the potential for U.S. involvement in Gaza. Traditionally, Gaza has been a flashpoint for conflict between Israel and Palestinian groups like Hamas. However, recent discussions have hinted at a U.S. plan to take control over Gaza, transforming it into a region of economic development and stability. The Bible, however, paints a grim picture of Gaza's future. Amos 1:7 warns, "I will send fire upon the wall of Gaza, which shall devour its palaces." Historical attempts to bring peace to Gaza have consistently failed, leading many to believe that conflict is an unavoidable part of its prophetic destiny. Construction of this temple is proceeding quietly but steadily. Jared Kushner's real estate acumen and his influence in the Middle East make him a potential key player in this process. His Middle Eastern investment networks and his role in the Abraham Accords suggest that he could facilitate the political and financial support needed to rebuild the temple. If this happens, it will not just be a religious achievement, but a global event, signaling the rapid approach of the end times. As the pieces fall into place, the convergence of political decisions, religious movements, and escalating conflicts indicates that the prophecies are being fulfilled at an unprecedented rate. The Bible speaks of a time when these events will accelerate rapidly, much like labor pains before childbirth. Matthew 24:8 calls these events the beginning of sorrows, a prelude to even greater tribulations. Throughout history, humanity has consistently placed its hope in leaders, believing that the right person in power can bring peace, prosperity, and stability. This belief is as old as civilization itself. Yet the Bible presents a starkly different message. No human leader can bring lasting peace. Instead, it emphasizes that only God's sovereignty, his ultimate control over all things, can achieve true and eternal harmony. However, the Bible warns against putting faith in human leaders, no matter how powerful or persuasive they may seem. Psalm 146, 3 cautions: do not put your trust in princes, in mortal men who cannot save. This isn't to say that leaders can't do good or make positive changes. The story of Israel in the Bible is one of repeated cycles. The people often sought kings and rulers to lead them, hoping these figures would protect them from enemies and guide them to prosperity. Yet, time and again, these human leaders fell short. From King Saul, Israel's first monarch, who disobeyed God and lost his throne, to King Solomon, whose wisdom couldn't prevent the kingdom's eventual division, the Bible is filled with examples of failed human leadership. This theme of false security is not new. The Bible repeatedly describes how people will seek peace through human efforts, only to find themselves in deeper trouble. In Daniel 9:27, it is prophesied that a ruler will make a covenant with many for 1 week, symbolizing a temporary agreement that will eventually be broken, leading to desolation. This ruler, often interpreted as the Antichrist, will promise stability but will usher in unprecedented turmoil. Despite these alarming signs, the Bible offers a powerful message of hope. God's sovereignty will prevail. No matter how chaotic the world becomes, no matter how deceptive human leaders may be, the ultimate authority rests with God alone. The Bible assures believers that while human leaders may rise and fall, God's plan is unchanging and unstoppable. Isaiah 46:10 declares, "I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please." The pattern of conflict in the Middle East is unmistakable. Since the establishment of the modern state of Israel in 1948, the region has been embroiled in wars, uprisings, and peace talks that rarely lead to lasting solutions. The Arab-Israeli War broke out immediately after Israel declared independence, setting a precedent for decades of hostility. This was followed by the Six-Day War in 1967, where Israel captured territories including East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip, and the Yom Kippur War in 1973, where neighboring Arab nations launched a surprise attack on Israel during one of its holiest days. Each of these conflicts seemed to bring the region closer to the boiling point predicted in biblical prophecy. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. What's particularly striking is how these historical events mirror the predictions in the Bible. Ezekiel 38-39, for example, speaks of a great war involving Israel, where multiple nations will rise against it. Known as the War of Gog and Magog, this prophecy suggests a coalition of countries, possibly including Russia, Iran, and Turkey, will attempt to invade Israel, leading to widespread destruction. While these events have not yet fully materialized, current alliances and hostilities in the region indicate that the groundwork is being laid for such a confrontation. One of the most significant flashpoints today is the Gaza Strip, a narrow piece of land along the Mediterranean coast that has been a constant source of conflict. Gaza is frequently mentioned in biblical prophecy, often in the context of judgment and destruction. In Zephaniah 2:4 it is written, "Gaza will be abandoned and Ashkelon left in ruins." The recent escalations, including rocket attacks from Hamas and retaliatory strikes by Israel, align with this grim forecast. However, what makes the situation even more prophetic is the potential involvement of the United States in controlling and redeveloping Gaza, a concept that has been quietly proposed by political figures close to Donald Trump and Jared Kushner. While presented as an economic development initiative, the Bible suggests that any attempt to stabilize Gaza through human efforts will ultimately fail. The conflict isn't limited to territorial disputes. The religious significance of Jerusalem plays a pivotal role in this prophetic narrative. Jerusalem is sacred to three major world religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and its control has been fiercely contested for centuries. The Bible predicts that Jerusalem will become a source of global tension in the end times. Zechariah 12:2-3 proclaims, "I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem." Adding to this complex web of conflict is the looming prospect of the Third Temple's construction. The site of the First and Second Temples, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, is currently home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, making it one of the most sensitive religious sites in the world. The Bible prophesies that the Third Temple will be rebuilt in the last days, serving as a key indicator of the end times. What makes these prophecies even more compelling is the role of modern technology and artificial intelligence in accelerating the timeline. Security systems across the Middle East are integrating AI and surveillance technologies, potentially enabling the prophesied level of control for the Antichrist's reign. Revelation 13:16-17 speaks of a time when no one will be able to buy or sell without a specific mark or identification. Digital currencies and biometric identification are rapidly establishing the infrastructure for such control. Despite the increasing tension and the ominous signs, the Bible offers a clear resolution to this conflict. The return of Jesus Christ is the ultimate answer to the world's unrest. The Bible describes this return in vivid detail. Revelation 19:11-16 paints a picture of Christ as a conquering king, coming to defeat the nations that have risen against Israel and to establish his kingdom on earth. His return will bring an end to all wars and usher in 1,000 years of peace, known as the millennial reign. Isaiah 2:4 prophesies, "He will judge between the nations and will settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks." Nations will no longer engage in sword fighting, nor will they continue to prepare for war. History often feels like a series of disconnected events, wars, treaties, leadership changes, but for those who look deeper, there is a clear and undeniable pattern. What we are witnessing today is not just a clash of nations or a battle for political dominance. It is the unfolding of a plan written long before modern borders were drawn or world leaders took their place on the stage. The events surrounding Israel, the Middle East, and global powers are part of an ancient narrative that is rapidly approaching its final chapter. The rise of Donald Trump as a key player in Middle Eastern affairs wasn't just another political shift. His decisions, from recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital to brokering the Abraham Accords, were pivotal moments that aligned with prophetic texts written thousands of years ago. These moves weren't random acts of diplomacy. They were steps toward fulfilling a destiny that has been anticipated for generations. Jared Kushner's role in these developments, particularly his behind-the-scenes influence on economic and political strategies, further highlights the intricate web of events that are shaping the world according to biblical prophecy. If you're enjoying this post, show your support. By clicking the Super Thanks button, you're not just supporting this content, you're helping spread the word far and wide. But this story isn't solely about leaders or governments. At its heart, it's about a deeper struggle, one between human ambition and divine authority. For centuries, humanity has sought peace through treaties, alliances, and power. Yet, time and again, these efforts have crumbled under the weight of human imperfection. The Middle East remains a region of persistent conflict despite countless attempts to stabilize it. The Gaza Strip, for example, continues to be a flashpoint of violence and unrest. aligning with prophetic warnings that this land will always be a site of struggle and devastation. The construction of the Third Temple in Jerusalem, a symbol of both hope and impending crisis, is the next significant milestone on this prophetic timeline. While many see the rebuilding of the temple as a triumph of faith and heritage, the Bible warns that it will also become the center of global conflict and spiritual deception. The rise of a charismatic leader who will desecrate the temple and deceive many into believing in a false peace is a key element of biblical prophecy. This individual, often referred to as the Antichrist, will bring about a period of unprecedented turmoil, leading to what the Bible describes as the Great Tribulation. Despite these dire predictions, the Bible offers a message of unwavering hope. The chaos, wars, and deception are not the end of the story. They are merely the precursor to the ultimate resolution, the return of Jesus Christ. His second coming will mark the definitive end of human conflict and the establishment of a kingdom built on justice, peace, and truth. According to Revelation 21:4, his reign will bring an end to all suffering. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. The signs are all around us. The convergence of political events, technological advancements, and shifting alliances indicates that we are living in extraordinary times. Understanding the significance of what's happening around us is not just about being aware of global politics. It's about recognizing the signs that point to the fulfillment of God's promises. The world is on the brink of monumental change, and those who understand the prophetic significance of these times will be better prepared for what lies ahead. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.